Welcome, citizen, to another Starcraft Nation broadcast. I'm your host, Venerati, and today I'm going to be bringing you the replays from the Gstar 2010 All-Star Invitational. Now, a lot of these were just posted up here, I think today, yesterday, early today, something of that nature, but we've got a lot of big names that most of you would know from the GSL. Now, for those of you who cannot read South Korean, this is SlayerBoxer, and of course he will be playing Terran. And in the South we have KyrixZenith, and yeah, I do have that on a piece of paper. You can't hear that in the background, but he will be spawning as the red Zerg player. So both of these guys are very, very strong players. Not only for the fact that they hail from the South Korean regions, but just the gameplay. I watched these games before I casted them, and just to make sure that that it was worth watching, we weren't just sitting here for a 2-hour snooze fest. And it's amazing to see. Every time I think I've seen most of the tricks in the book, these people like this just bring out some new stuff that blows me away. Now, right now we do have SlayerBoxer putting down his barracks and a supply depot on the foot of his ramp. This is going to allow him to really choke this off relatively easily, as he will be able to occupy this ramp and keep the enemy at bay and deny them any sort of view, because you can run your units up on the ramp, gain vision, you can have roaches, hydralisks, or whatever shenanigans that you are bringing to the table, and you'll be able to fire upon Marines and Marauders or whatever else that is up here. By putting these down here, you're actually able to block that. Now, flip side, you are able to snipe this, as you can sit out here and just go ahead and peg these, but that's for that's where the gameplay comes in. Where what are you going to do with this? How are you going to play the game at this point with a barracks at the foot of your ramp? And right now, it looks like SlayerBoxer is going to be playing it pretty aggressively. He's already throwing down another rack. We do have one Marine already out and about. This Marine will be dealing with this drone right here, as this drone is definitely not going to be digging these Gauss bullets, and he's going to try to get away. But right now, we actually have SlayerBoxer dropping a barracks down on this roadway. Looks like he's going to be looking to put a lot of early pressure on his opponent over here. And meanwhile, KyrixZenith is going to be throwing down a spawning pool. We'll be finishing up here. We'll have the hatcheries going ahead, and we'll be finishing up here relatively soon. We'll be going and grabbing the extractor, and this is actually pretty solid stuff. This is pretty common play for Zerg, and I say that just because it allows you to get that much more of a macro. But meanwhile, we're seeing a bunker going down here. Now, SlayerBoxer abandoned it once we saw the drones trying to snipe this SCV. This SCV is running around trying to figure out what's going on, giving his last living breaths to his master, and just trying to give some sort of vision in the base of KyrixZenith. And these Zerg KyrixZenith, of course, will be finishing off that bunker. And let's go take ooh, that's actually pretty close. I think that actually Krix got that one right there. So right now we do have 4 Marines moving out here from SlayerBoxer. Ooh, 6 Marines on the table. Excuse me, we have 2 more coming out here. Yet another 2 coming out here. So SlayerBoxer is going to have a massive amount of Marines here for how far we are in the game. We're 5 minutes in the game. He has 8 Marines, and he's actually got a pretty decent economy right there, as he does have 20 harvesters, so he's not totally, this is not a cheese ball or anything of that nature. So we do have these Zerglings moving back for KyrixZenith, and this could be really dangerous for Krix if he does not put something down, static defense, or just start to crank some Zerglings out there. But meanwhile, we do actually see 8 Zerglings will be queued up here. I just don't know if that's actually going to be enough to deal with the potential pressure that SlayerBoxer could be putting on here, but we do see this Overlord will be caught out in the open and is totally going to get owned. It looks like it's actually going to try to float over this one Marine and try to kill it with its dead body, but of course that does not actually happen. And right now we do have KyrixZenith moving out once again with his Zerglings. We'll be kind of poking around, seeing what's going on. Now, SlayerBoxer did go ahead and throw a lot of money early on into those Marines, and he did put, he didn't really apply much pressure. He did throw the bunker down, and he did come out there and allow KyrixZenith to see how many Marines he had, but he didn't actually commit them to anything. And this kind of is put him into a position to where he can slack off on the production of the Marines and actually can roll into a command center, which we see right here this command center will be finishing up here relatively quickly, but we do actually have the Zerglings going in, sniping that SCV right there, just kind of chewing its ass end out right there, not allowing this bunker to finish up. So, of course, with the scaffolding right around this bunker, none of the Marines can actually get in there. So, right now, these Zerglings are just kind of poking around, trying to figure out what exactly is going on, what SlayerBoxer is going to be up to, what kind of crazy shenanigans. We do actually see 2 Marines jumping in there, going to be all warm and cozy, going to be bunk makes for a while, and meanwhile, we have a stream of Zerglings and Banelings, or actually stream of Zerglings, and once the Zerglings get over here, they turn into Banelings. These Banelings are going to be brutally devastating to SlayerBoxer right here, as this bunker and this supply depot is not going to be enough to soak it up there. We do actually have the Zerglings move up in front, and we do actually see contacts on the bunker. We see both of those Marines die in there, as this second bunker will be going down, and it did. I'm not sure if it actually was able to go ahead and grab itself right there. I cannot really tell by the loss tab, but more and more Banelings will be summoning up here. There is going to be a lot of hell raining down on the supply depot. We used to see SlayerBoxer kind of moving his units out here, trying to spread them out, making sure that none of them are too close to each other, as we don't want a single detonation to grab all these Marines. And we do see, yes, the Marines will be, actually one Marine going down, and we see the Banelings coming into the main base of SlayerBoxer. These Hellions desperately trying to fend off this attack, and we do see the Banelings moving forward the mineral line. This could be very devastating to Slayer's economy if this actually does go off in the bulk of these SCVs, but they do not actually go off. We see these Hellions more than apt at taking out all of those units, especially with the pre-infernal igniter upgrade, and that was pretty devastating. It potentially could have been extremely devastating to SlayerBoxer, but he was able to save his economy. He did lose almost all of his Marines there, as I do believe, yes, both of these guys are fresh out of the press. So right now, these Hellions are pretty much what have kept SlayerBoxer in this right now. And we do have 2 loitering overlords right there. And SlayerBoxer not able to really apply that much pressure right now, because if he does move out, he will be kind of, if he splits his forces up, his Hellions are going to risk the risk being overwhelmed. And if he attacks, he's leaving his base wide open. Now, that being said, we do actually see fixed defenses going down for Zenith right here, or I'm sorry, Crooks. And this is really going to be interesting, because we are actually seeing the Roach Worm coming out here. We see 13 roaches inbound. These roaches are just about to spawn right as these Hellions show up, and these Hellions are not going to be that effective against the roaches. Of course, they do have the upgrade, but it still is not going to be that much. We do actually see SlayerBoxer moving back here, as one of the Hellions was sniped, and we really don't see that much damage on these roaches, as we see one roach had 25 damage done to it with that. Now, we do see a ninja base going down for Crix, and this is going to only add to his macro advantage right now, as actually these overlords are being picked off, and I'm not really sure why he moved all these overlords out here, but this is going to be very devastating. If he gets supply locked, this would be a very bad position, as SlayerBoxer is just using these 4 Marines, as these 4 Marines have already paid for themselves right there, as we will see the last one go ahead and get picked off right there. Well, I don't know. These Zerglings just kind of didn't really have anything to do with it. Now, this is going to be pretty scary for that Marine. Yes, it is actually just blown in half by that acid bath right there. We do see one Marauder, 2 Marauders in this bunker. We see all these SCVs running up here trying to save it. We do see the Hellions go down right there, and I don't believe there's going to be enough, as this bunker does look like it will be going down if we see focus fire from Crix. And yes, Crix does actually go ahead and is able to break that bunker, and both of those Marauders go down before they can run over to the next bunker. So right now, SlayerBoxer in a very, very uncomfortable position, as he only has 2 Marauders coming out right now. His entire mineral line is in jeopardy. He lost he doesn't have anything down in his natural right now. And yes, we do see the SCVs totally being picked off right here, as he is down to 24. Meanwhile, the drops, though, going down on Crix's base are absolutely devastating. So both players completely annihilating each other's economy right now, as we see SlayerBoxer just kind of sitting here. He actually does throw down a mule right here, and the oh wow, that starport does go down, as that would have been the main threat for these roaches, as the roaches would not have been able to actually go ahead and attack anything in the air. We see these Marauders trying to back out, trying to take on these units individually. I would like to see, maybe see a bunker come down there, as it does look like the main of SlayerBoxers has pretty much been pillaged and taken out right here. So we do see 5 mules coming down for SlayerBoxer. This could really keep him in the game if he's going to be able to keep these guys alive. We do see a couple of these mules taking hits right here. We do see this one Marauder coming back in here. It does have the medevac keeping its healing beams down on it, but it does not look like it's going to be enough, as there are a lot of roaches in SlayerBoxer's base, And we see his economy is raging, but he just doesn't have anything in the way of production. We do see one tank going and finishing up here. We do actually see the bunker coming, or I'm sorry, the bears coming down here with the factory. But of course, there are too many Zerglings in the main, and we do actually see that tank being taken out by those Zerglings. And those Zerglings are just so vicious on those units. Now, the front door of SlayerBoxer's main base was broken down once again. And right now, SlayerBoxer is pretty much sitting at nothing as he only has 2 harvesters left. And his main is completely being gutted right now. And this is pretty much over for SlayerBoxer as he has nothing as far as military unit. He has 1 Marauder and 1 Hellion. And these guys are both going to have to pull a Chuck Norris if anything is going to happen. Yes, we do actually see SlayerBoxer go ahead and GG out of this. So that was actually pretty brutal as we saw kind of a phantom early pressure. It was more psychological than anything. And then we just basically saw we saw a train of pain come down on SlayerBoxer as he had a lot of Hellions come out there, which saved his main base once, but the Roaches just can soak up that Hellion damage to such a degree that it pretty much makes them absolutely useless. So, either way, there's going to be a lot more of these games coming, guys. I really hope you enjoy this. The intensity of these games, I don't even know if I can really cast the intensity of these games, as it's going to get better and better as I've watched all of these games, and they are all just absolutely stellar. So, guys, thank you so much for joining me. And as always, citizens, stay safe.